This theorem proves that.
Wait a minute, I should say hello. Hi, I'm Cherry. Welcome to my life. As you can see, I want for nothing. At least, I used to. Wow, I see you have so many questions. Let me start at the beginning. My mom is filthy rich. I'd always been homeschooled and mostly stayed in our posh mansion. I didn't really want to go anywhere. After all, I had everything I could possibly wish for at home. A private cinema, a swimming pool, a spa, a small amusement park? Is your head spinning yet? I naively thought that everyone lived that way. Mom wouldn't let me watch the news, or visit certain websites, or have social media. Weird, right? But she told me, I'm doing this because I care for you, baby. I didn't mind. But one day, I overheard a conversation between our maids. Poor Cherry. I know. She's living in a golden cage like a princess in a castle. Her mother surrounded her with luxury, but she has no friends and she would never last a day in the real world. At first, I wanted to make a scene. How dare they gossip about me? But then I thought about their words. What did they mean? Why wouldn't I last a day? I tried to ask my mom about it, but she waved me off and then yelled at those maids. So I snuck into my mom's bedroom that night, rummaged through her desk, and I found passwords for the channels and the websites that she'd blocked. Gotcha! I spent all night watching TV shows and scrolling through social media. Wow! I was surprised and disappointed when I realized I really had been living in a fantasy, and I knew nothing about being an ordinary teenager. Mom wasn't very angry with me because it was my birthday. She threw me a great party, gifts, cakes, fun, but something was missing. I looked around me and I realized that it was friends. Mom, can I get another gift? Of course, sweetie. Transfer me to a regular school for a few months. I want to talk to other kids my age. What? You have everything. The kids in public schools are mean and arrogant. I'm not transferring you there. We rarely argued, but I just couldn't accept her decision. Is that right? Then I don't want any of the other gifts either. And I'm not gonna study anymore. My ultimatum worked. Mom wasn't happy about it, but she agreed to do what I'd asked her to. Yay! All right, you win. Don't say I didn't warn you. I went to school for the first time ever a week later. It was really weird, but also interesting. I was surprised that oysters and tiramisu weren't served in the dining room. Instead of a spa room, we were supposed to change in a locker smelling of sweaty socks. Ew. Every step in that new world was like an adventure. I loved it. Being an ordinary teenager delighted me. My classmates were surprisingly friendly. Oh, are you new here? Let me give you a tour. Yay! I was making friends. By the end of the first day, I grew to love school. And at home, I told my mom that I wanted to keep going there. I was done with boring homeschooling. Mom clutched her head and tried to change my mind, but I was no longer listening to her. Instead, I ran to my room, happily singing Miley Cyrus. The next day, I came to school feeling inspired and determined to make friends, and maybe even find a boyfriend. But it seemed like my classmates had changed overnight. Now they were sarcastic and rude. What are you, catching flies? Close your mouth. I spent the day being mocked and trying to figure out what was going on. Things had been perfect the day before. Those morons made me angrier by the hour. And then they went too far. They took a skeleton from the biology classroom and rolled it around the corner to scare me. Boo. I yelped in surprise and I spilled my soda all over myself. Ugh, those jerks started giggling nastily. I was cleaning myself up in the toilets and thinking that this was all probably some test that every new student had to pass. But then, another me appeared in the mirror. That girl looked just like me. We had different clothes and hairstyles, but our faces were identical. We stared at each other for a while, and then she grimaced and left. Ugh. Take a picture, it'll last longer. I was feeling conflicted. My driver was super late, so I wandered around the city, lost in thought. The longer I walked, the more slums and poor people I saw. The world outside the gates of our mansion was different from what I'd imagined. A gorgeous guy suddenly drove up to me on a skateboard. He started talking as if he knew me. Hey, Rachel, new hairstyle? What? He saw a police car, quickly hid the skate under a bench, sat down, and pulled me toward him. Then he started to wave his arms around like we were having a heated discussion. And after the cops had left, the beautiful stranger kissed me on the cheek and thanked me for my help and skated away.
See you later.
I watched him go. My heart was pounding. Was I in love? Oh, I saw a cafe ahead. My driver still hadn't arrived, so I decided I would wait for him there. A guy with a manager's badge immediately ran up to me and started yelling at me for leaving the shift without permission. He was practically foaming at the mouth. What?
Rachel, what am I paying you for?
Huh? What are you talking about? At that moment, the girl from school came out of the staff room. She was wearing a waiter's uniform. The manager looked at us in shock, and it finally dawned on me that both the skateboarding guy and the cafe manager had mistaken me for Rachel. She realized it as well, so she grabbed me by the elbow and pulled me aside.
Get out of here before you get me into trouble. Stay away from me, rich girl.
Why are you so mad at me?
Do you think everyone has to love you since you're rich? I said get lost.
Ugh, in some ways, Mom was right. Teenagers were incredibly rude. I was about to leave when the guy with the skateboard walked into the cafe. He was surprised when he saw Rachel and I standing next to each other, and then he burst out laughing.
Wow, you could be twins. Sorry for all that. I mistook you for my girlfriend. Hey, baby.
It turned out that the handsome prince on the white skateboard was called Victor, and he was Rachel's boyfriend. I felt so frustrated when I saw them kiss. After all, I really liked him. Rachel glared at me.
Why are you still here?
I headed for the door again, but Victor turned out to be friendlier than his girlfriend and told her that I had helped him hide from police.
I almost got caught while getting everything ready.
What did that mean? I was curious, so I asked him about it.
Oh, I see you're interested, Cherry. There's gonna be a party behind the shopping center tonight. You should come. I'll introduce you to everyone.
Wow, a party? Of course, I agreed. Rachel gritted her teeth in anger and seemed ready to bite Victor's head off for just inviting me. But then my driver finally arrived, and I left as they kept arguing. I couldn't wait for the first ever party in my life. Mom noticed my high spirits and grew suspicious. I had to tell her everything. You shouldn't frown so much, you'll get wrinkles. They're amazing people. Well, Rachel is kinda nasty, but she looks just like me. That did not reassure my mom. She went absolutely ballistic and told me to stay away from my peers. What had gotten into her?
Anyway, I withdrew you from school. You're going to be homeschooled again, young lady. Wash off that ton of makeup. You're not going anywhere.
I could have started arguing, but I pretended to listen to her instead. After Mom had left, I easily got out of the mansion. Wow, there were so many people at the party. The music was blasting. Everyone was dancing and laughing. It turned out there was an entrance fee, but that wasn't a problem for me. I saw Victor on an improvised stage. He was performing with his band. I got butterflies in my stomach when I saw him. Why couldn't he be single? I was thinking about that when I saw Rachel in the crowd. She was kissing another guy. Can you imagine? It made my blood boil. How dare she? Wasn't she dating Victor? Rachel saw me too. She quickly pushed the guy away and angrily hissed at me to keep my mouth shut.
It's none of your business, got it?
Yeah, right. I decided I would tell Victor about his girlfriend's betrayal. He had just finished performing as he came up to us.
What's up, ladies?
At that moment, someone shouted, "Cops!" We heard sirens and everyone scattered. Oh no, what was going on? Victor grabbed Rachel and I by the arms and pulled us along.
Come on, girls, I know what to do.
We ran through dark alleys and ended up in a dead end. The police caught up to us before we even knew it. And then we were brought to a police station and put in a cell. Why are they treating us like we're criminals? It all seemed suspicious, and I got mad as hell. However, Victor explained everything to me. It had been an uncoordinated charity concert. His band had been organizing such events for a long time, and Rachel always helped them. The cops were always trying to catch them. When I'd met Victor for the first time, he'd been putting up posters about the concert and almost got caught by the police. I really admired what he was doing. Victor was not only friendly and handsome, but also noble. This is awesome! I want to help you guys! Soon, the police took Victor away for a chat. Rachel and I were left alone, and I asked her about the guy she was kissing at the party. She sighed guiltily and said she hadn't felt anything for Victor in a long time, so she was dating someone else.
I'm afraid of breaking his heart,
but I will tell Victor the truth. Victor came back to the cell before I could ask her anything else. And then my worried mother stormed into the station. The cops had given her a call. She was about to lose it.
I warned you, Cherry. Look what going to a normal school has done to you. I paid the fine. We're leaving.
No, Mom. They're good guys and my friends. I'm not leaving them.
Friends? You should know the truth about them.
It turned out that my mom had paid my classmates to bully me when I'd come back to school. Mom looked at Rachel and said that she had taken the money too. So that's why she had been so rude to me? Rachel looked away guiltily and I realized all of this was true.
I'm sorry. I was worried about you and I wanted you to be homeschooled again. But now you know how shallow your friends are. They can be bought.
I felt gutted and betrayed. So I agreed I would go home. But first, I asked Mom to pay the fine for Victor and Rachel so that they could go free too.
Cherry, wait. Don't talk to her. Let's go, sweetie.
I went back to my old life in a golden cage, but I didn't feel happy anymore. The world outside the gates of our mansion was terrible, but I also no longer liked my perfectly fake world. I deleted all social media so nothing would remind me of what had happened. I had a lot to think about. I was sitting by the pool when I saw the security guards catching a guy sneaking into the mansion. It was Victor. What was he doing here? I asked the guards to leave and let us talk.
Whew, you really live in an impregnable fortress.
I know that you don't go to my school and you didn't take money from my mom, but you knew the truth about what Rachel and the others did. I don't want to see any of you.
That's actually what I want to talk about. Rachel told me a secret in the cafe back then. The real reason why she was being so rude to you. But you should discuss that with her. Let's just say your mom is hiding something from you, Cherry. Rachel had good reasons to take that money.
He looked at his watch and said he was late for a rehearsal. Before leaving, Victor gently pushed a strand of hair behind my ear and smiled sweetly.
I really like you, Cherry, but I'm dating Rachel, and I can't betray her. The world out there isn't always friendly, but there is a lot of good in it. Don't just hide in here, okay?
He winked and quickly jumped over the gate. I was still in love with him. Wait, I had to focus. It was time to find out the truth. When I came to my mom, she was discussing the sale of our mansion with a realtor on the phone. That was really unexpected.
I want Cherry to leave the city. If she stays here, anything could happen.
Well, that was suspicious as all hell. I demanded an explanation, but Mom acted like I had heard wrong.
What are you talking about? Don't worry about anything, honey.
Who did she take me for? I didn't believe her, especially after she had paid all my classmates behind my back. I opened my social media and I saw a ton of messages from Rachel. Wow, she kept apologizing and saying she wanted to tell me something. It seemed really serious, so I snuck out of the mansion. Finding Rachel's address wasn't hard, but when I got there, I was stunned. Her home was tiny. I couldn't imagine living in a place like this. It was absolutely unfair. Rachel opened the door before I could even knock.
Cherry? Wow, this is really sudden, but I'm glad you came. Come on in.
It was obvious she was embarrassed about her poverty, so I decided to cheer her up. It's so cozy here.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were an arrogant rich girl, but you're actually kind of nice. As you can see, my family is pretty poor. I work in that cafe, and that's why I accepted the money your mom gave me. I'm sorry for that, and for the way that I treated you.
It's all right. I'm glad we talked about it.
Actually, there's something else.
As soon as she said that, her parents walked into the house. They looked at me strangely and suddenly started hugging me.
My baby, will you forgive us?
Yeah, as soon as I can breathe again. As if I wasn't confused enough already. Next, my mom burst into the house and started yelling at Rachel's parents. My head was spinning. Could this day get any crazier? Stop! My head is about to explode. What's going on?
Baby, you should probably sit down.
What I heard made my mouth go dry. It was unbelievable. It turned out that Rachel's parents had once had twins, her and me, but they were too poor to provide for two girls. My foster mother had come to the hospital looking for a child to adopt. She had just lost her husband and was terribly afraid of being lonely.
We decided that at least one of our girls should be able to live in a world without worry.
Mom had paid my biological parents, and they had signed a contract saying they would never come near me.
We regretted our decision and really wanted to meet you, but your foster mom hid you from the world in the mansion.
I could hardly believe this was really happening. I sat down in shock, and Rachel brought me a glass of water.
I always knew I had a twin who lived in a rich family. I hated you, and I was so jealous of you. But after I got to know you better, I realized we're soulmates.
We spent the evening talking. We kept crying and laughing in turns. But in the end, we managed to talk it out and actually forgive each other. Of course, what my foster mom had done was wrong in so many ways, but she had taken really good care of me, and I loved her. She changed her mind about selling the mansion, and now I go to school and live more like an ordinary teenager. I love it! Instead of buying all sorts of expensive equipment we don't need, Mom spends money on charities. And I spend a lot of my time with my biological parents and Rachel. I feel like I can discuss absolutely anything with them. Still, one thing bothers me. I really like Victor, and I know that he's crazy about me. But we just have to stay friends because he's still dating Rachel. She still hasn't figured out how to tell him the truth.
I'll find the right moment and I'll tell him. I promise.
It's been several weeks. I don't want to go behind my sister's back, but I also really like Victor. What should I do, guys?